Welcome back to Programming with R and Matlab. My name is Jan and I'm a teaching assistant in finance at Stockholm Business School. Today we continue our basics and we're doing final steps of our example. Woohoo! And we're going to do a sorting and regressions today. So what we're going to speak about, of course, our example, and then we're going to do final touches. And I will speak about built-in versus DI, do-it-yourself functions, and especially I'm going to say about loops, and I will speak about when you need to use the built-in functionality, or sometimes it may be even better to write it by yourself. So now we're going to take a look at the trainer measure. So it's similar to Sharpe ratio because it also shows the relation between excess return, but in this case you think over the systematic or non-diversifiable risk. So again, the risk-free rate is given to you and the mean or average can be calculated automatically. However, beta, which you has to use to calculate trainer ratio, you have to calculate by yourself. So we're going to use the simple Capam. This is Capam written in a regression-like manner, so that the excess return for the stock X is equal to some alpha, which is Jensen's alpha plus beta multiplied by the excess return of excess return of market or market premium, and also some error terms. So the thing that the market premium and the excess return can be calculated from the available data, no problem, and alpha, beta and errors can be estimated by the program automatically by just running one function, so it's also okay. And then this beta, we're going to extract it from our estimates, and we're going to use it to calculate our trainer measure. And also we will assume that the Capam works efficiently, so that alpha will be set to 0, so that Capam holds in any times. So let's think over how we're going to do it. We're going to calculate trainer measure for each stock. So again, each stock, each is our keyword, means loop. Okay, so we have the stock. So take a look here. We have the stocks from the previous example, from the Sharpe ratio filtering. Now we need to calculate the trainer measure for all of them. And we want to have something like this, so that at the end we want to add trainer measures over here. So for each stock in the list, and here the list is that stock, these stocks over here. For each stock over list, run a regression on excess returns. So on excess returns for example, let's say for stock 1, for stock 1 we run a regression on excess returns for stock 1 and on market, and we get our beta, so that we are selecting the beta. Then we are calculating the trainer measure, and then we save the ratio in the table. So pretty much in this example it would be 6 after calculation, and we are storing it in the table near stock 1, and then we do it for each stock in here in this table. Now when we calculate a trainer measure, we want to select the top 10 in our example, but for the sake of the representativity and for our example, so that we can just take a look how it works, we're going to select the only top 2. So these top 2 are the stock 1 and stock 2, because they have the highest trainer measures. So at the end we want to have and we want to save it in the new matrix, and this is how actually it will work in R and Matlab. We're going to create a new matrix which will have the ranked rank stocks. In one column it will have a former IDs which can be traced to the particular stock, and also on the other side here we're going to have a trainer measures, but the trainer measures, they're going to be sorted from the biggest to the lowest. And then we're going to select the first two, or in our example we will select first 10, but here we're selecting 2, and this would be our final portfolio. Well, it sounds a big thing to do, but I have a good news for you. Sorting is completely automatic, so you don't have to worry about it. It does everything automatically, but it's a good example to see how it works with these two tables, so that you keep it always in mind when you use this sorting thing. So today we did actually a good thing, because we found that we need to apply regressions and how to apply sorting and how it will work in computer-like environment, in algorithm environment. And also, so now we have the whitelisted stocks, and pretty much it's the whole portfolio, and then show the top 10 stocks, include them into our portfolio. It's pretty straightforward. We have to just plot them and list them, and this is just going to be a display command, which I will show in next sections. But it's not all for today. Let's think over what is missing here, and the thing which is missing is this one, is that we have to use the whole algorithm for all or each time points. So each time point, it again means loop. So we need to apply a big loop on all the algorithm over here, and to do it again and again and again and again for each time period. So now let's speak about built-in functions versus do-it-yourself functions. There are absolutely good sides and bad sides of writing your function by yourself comparing to the built-in function. So good thing is that built-in functions, they can be quite limited, and they can be written in the way that may not be consistent with your framework. In this case, you need to write a new one. However, when you write a new one, it can become a bit complicated, and this may take more time when you're executing your script. But from the other side, it's just easier to write a loop than thinking how to build the functions and how they can be used. Because some of them, manuals are written quite good usually, but sometimes you just don't feel how you can use it. Or maybe you need to use additional functions to fit the whole function. And this is only about this thing. So for example, what I think, and when I write the code, I usually think, okay, what would be easier for me to find the way how to use the built-in function, or just write a small my own function or small my own loop, which will do the whole thing for me, pretty much the same which I exactly want. But at the same time, there is another drawback, is that your function, when you write it, it may take some time to debug it and optimize it as well. Because the more code you write, the bigger chance is that you may make some stupid mistake. For example, you put a comma instead of dot, or you forgot to close the bracket somewhere, and it's not a big deal, but it's a bit annoying. And and as well, you may end up with highly complicated code. So let's say you're writing more than one do-yourself loop, and let's say both of them are quite complicated, then at the end you will end up with actually quite complicated code as is. There are ways to make it easier. I will speak about it when we're going to do our examples in coding in R or in coding in Matlab in the next sections. And this is the end of the basic section. Congrats! So now presumably you should know what we're going to do, how we're going to do, and what is going to be the structure of our program in both environments. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Hej då!